Right. I always had a thing for traveling. I like traveling. I like going places, seeing things, and great outdoors.
Hmm.
When I was a kid, I used to love to go hunting, fishing, and stuff. Growing up without a real father figure
Where'd you grow up?
in Glendale, and then here in West LA.
But you were born in Miami.
Yeah, I was born in Miami.
Hmm. What was your family like growing up?
My father was a great father. He was a drug dealer. I didn't know this. He was a drug dealer, uh, sort of not a tough guy. He was just always in arguing with my mom, but he was a good father. He gave me everything I wanted. He had on Miami River. He had a business which still runs now, but it's not his business anymore or the family business. We still hold the name on the river, Garcia and Harada, and during the '70s, I didn't know, but he ran a lot of drugs up and down,
Hmm.
and my mother was scared, and she was always left alone. And people with guns were always showing up at her house, and she just didn't like it. And she was the one. She was the one that always started the fight. But and my father was he did hit her, but it wasn't bad. He would just hold her down. She was going to do. She was small. She's small, but she always did the hitting. And my father was always like trying to hold her down, and she'd end up bruised up. And she never called the cops, but she would steal his money. I remember that. And she stole a bunch of money and came over here with me and my sister. Had a younger sister, a couple years younger than I, and she just passed away a month ago, and from drinking, and she was molested also at the time.
How would you describe your childhood in general?
My childhood growing up in Glendale was great. Wanted to be a Cub Scout. I became a Cub Scout. My mom worked hard at IBM. She didn't know no English, but her visa at that time in '70s, her visa at that time I guess gave her the job in Florida, and IBM was in Glendale, and she worked IBM, and she worked hard to give us everything we could have. We didn't have a father figure in our life at first, but we met. She met somebody named Alejandro, a Mexican guy named Alejandro, and he was cool at first and everything, and but things turned out. I mean, like shit. My mother didn't know what was going on for a while. It's just I was sad. I was flunking at all grades and everything. I started flunking, and not only that, I was I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't talk. I lost interest in a lot of things, and it's just it ruined me. It ruined me completely.
What age was this?
That was at 7 years old. At seven, after preschool,
This was your mom's.
yeah, my mom's boyfriend, Alejandro. Uh, they had a child together, my younger brother, and I don't know. He'll probably see this and he'll hate me later, but a lot of people don't know what really happened. Uh, but I'm sorry. My mother met Alejandro, and he was a cool guy, long hair, sort of like a hippie type, but more of the macho. He used to beat us, beat my mom, and he was always like wanted to dress to impress. And my mom, I just liked the guy. I mean, he worked hard. He put food on the table, gave us all the presents we wanted, gave us money, but I mean, it was for something. At first, we didn't know. I didn't know it was going on to my sister also, but he would tell me, "Hey, I'll give you $5, but you got to do this." I was innocent. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, he had grab his balls and stuff like that, and it was a lot of other things. It was. I remember a teacher asking me one time if something was wrong because I acted different. Her name was Miss Pena, and she named a child after me. She asked me if I was eating the paint off the walls because I was acting real weird. He drugged us. He drugged me, and I think it was roofies. I don't know what kind of drug he gave us, uh, but it affected both of us real bad. Uh, my speech patterns started changing. Uh, it was just crazy. I remember waking up one time and climbing the wall, seeing myself climbing the wall, thinking I was a spider. And my mom would be yelling at me, and but I would wake up in the morning with cum in my ass. I mean, I didn't know it was that though. I mean, it was just slippery, slimy, and I thought it was normal. I thought it was normal, and my mom, she would see that and would take us to the doctor. I think the doctor told her something, but she would refuse it, like to accept it, or something. I barely asked her why. I mean, and she just didn't know. And she didn't know. She became an alcoholic from that. She started drinking, and we started drinking. I guess I drank at a young age also, at first, and then my sister started drinking also, and that's what she passed away from last month. And drinking and taking pills, and I started messing up, trying to turn. I hated myself. I wanted to be something else. I didn't want to be William. I wanted to be something. Get away from everybody and get away from my mother. Get away from the little boring, what I thought was boring and crazy life I had. So I started turning to other guys that I looked up to, and their younger brothers and stuff, and hanging out with them. And I turned into a gang member. I mean, at first it didn't seem like so, but I wasn't paying attention to my mother. I remember at age 11, at age 11 and 12, I told my mother that I was going to buy my own clothes. And she said, okay. I mean, but yeah, I just wanted to dress differently. I wanted to be something else. I would lie about everything. I would tell people that we were rich, or tell people we had money, and just make a whole different identity up. And I just didn't like me anymore. I had no interest in school. I remember I was young, 5 and 6. I wanted to be a schoolboy. I wanted to be things. I wanted to be the cop. I wanted to be a fireman, a Cub Scout. I did become a Cub Scout, but I was losing interest in a lot of things. I loved fishing. I loved hunting. I loved the outdoors. I still do. And it stuck with me. That stuck with me. But I didn't want a father. I wanted a brother. I mean, an older brother. I wanted to learn things, yet there was nobody teaching me anything. I mean, the only thing they taught me was sex. I mean, it was this guy. That went on until I was 9 years old. And I guess my mother figured it out. And she moved us here to West LA, and to get away from him. By that time, we had a younger brother named Alex also. And he, I guess, wanted to bond with my mother more. He apologized, but it wasn't just only him, Alejandro, it was his brother Gustavo. Every time he came from Mexico, same thing. And to please him, I was willing and able. And,
so the sexual abuse came from
yeah, sexual abuse.
your mom's boyfriend and his brother.
And his brother. And so I didn't know what was going on. So I mean, I trusted his balls. I thought it was, everybody did that. And I remember going to school, I would touch girls' asses and stuff. And I'd tell other kids, hey, you want to touch my balls? And that's from Miss Peniel. My teacher, I think it was the second grade, she said, hey, what are you doing? You don't do that. What's going on in your house? And she goes, that's not right. She called a cop, and the cop didn't like what was going on at all. And he had talked to the spirit, but they couldn't do nothing about it. They couldn't do anything about it. And my mom got excited. She got mad that that I told the story. And that's when Miss Pena was telling me that's not right, and that life should be this way, that way. I started hanging around a kid named Brian, and he was a good influence. He was a great kid, and he was telling me that the stuff that I was doing shouldn't be happening. And his father started telling me that. I mean, he beat up Alejandro. He beat up Alejandro, and I remember they got into a fight. I felt real bad about it, but at the same time, I was happy. And my mom got into an argument with me, and they both beat me, and I felt like shit. I mean, what's right and what's wrong? And I started to be a loner. I started hanging out by myself, sort of an outcast. And I was stealing. I was stealing the things because my mom would no longer buy me the things that I needed or wanted. I wanted to be in Little League. First at what's it called, T-ball. And she didn't buy me anything, the things I wanted, or I had them refused. I stole the stuff. I stole the ball, the glove, and everything. Went to Pacific Park in Glendale, and to the park and enrolled. And yeah, I made the team, and my mom signed me on. She didn't pay. She didn't pay for my fee, but somebody else did, and other dads would take me out, and I think they knew what was going on, and they would try to like give me advice, and I just hated myself for that. I mean, that I couldn't do nothing about it, that I couldn't change anything, and later I found out that it was happening to my sister. Is one day we're living in Colorado, and Alejandro sends my sister, what's it called, to go get something to eat from the market. We're little kids, you know, the market's around the corner though. And my sister's looking at me like, oh no, he sends me to go to the market, and I didn't want to, my sister said, no, don't go. I said, why? And we'll get candy. And he gave us $5. And he goes, no, don't go, please don't go. And so I stayed, and he got mad. And he took the $5 back, and then I asked my sister, what's going on? And he goes, well, he touches me. I'm like, what? And that's when I first got the idea that it was happening to her too. And I asked her questions like, where does he touch you down here? And I touched her too. You know, at first I touched her too, like here. What do you feel? She goes, I just don't like it. It hurts. And I go, well, yeah, he touches me too. And she started hugging me, and I hugged her back. And we went and told our mother together. And my mother still, like at first, like, you shouldn't be lying, you shouldn't be saying shit like this. And we kept quiet about it. And Gustavo would come, and same thing, my sister and me. He would drug us both, and we'd wake up with shit in our ass like that. But we thought it was normal. Well, like I said, my mother got and packed us away when I was 9. My sister was, and she was 6, 5 or 6, and I was, she was 7. Actually, she was 7, and I was 9, and right here to West LA. We lived not too far from the Staples Center, and my mother met another boyfriend here, a Cuban guy, and he was pretty good. My mother was pregnant at that time, and the Cuban guy was real cool people, and I was still a loner, still careful, weary of adults, and yet if the guy was just a little older than me, I'd take him on as a big brother, follow him around. But out here with Mexicans and the gangbanging style, I mean, it was just new to us, and I just wanted to be like them. They had girls, they had money, they had cars, they had everything I wanted. And and forget about school, forget about listening to adults, and forget father figures, forget all this. Just, I mean, and my sister, the same thing. She followed along. She followed me along with me. Uh, I became a gang member first, and then I never told anybody the story after that. I just tried to hide it, stash it away, and so did my sister. And but it was freaky things going on. It was we are. I guess I was my sexual life was changed completely. I knew what sex was. I wanted to practice sex. I wanted to what's it called, explore, but not with boys, but women. I wanted to explore. I was watching porn and looking at porn, and at the same time, when I see these guys with women, it's like we were doing anything. It's like, I mean, my first real sexual experience was when I was 12, and it was a lady named Blanca, my mom's friend. She was like 25. I was 12 years old, and she was drunk at the house. My mom was an alcoholic, full blown by this time, and I was normal for me to already see my mother drunk. We lived in smaller apartments, and I would see her drunk, and me and my sister would steal the people's money, and but Blanca would come here, and my sister would laugh at me. You know what I mean? 'Cause I was under the covers with Blanca, touching her, and she would tell me where to touch her and stuff. And she said that she told me one time it wasn't right what happened to me, and I would try to block that out. And but at the same time, she said those people should be killed and that it wasn't right. She introduced me to a guy named Manuel. Manuel and Billy. Manuel and Billy were her friends. They worked in a place here in downtown called New York Hardware Store. The place was open since 1910. And it was like my second job. My first was MacArthur Park, renting out the boats and giving out snow cones. Second job was right here, right there, New York Hardware Store. And Manuel and Billy became sort of like my big brothers. And they were great. These guys would teach me from fishing, everything I wanted, I had lost interest in, they picked up on. And they moved me into their house. I'm telling you, I moved away from my mother at a young age, went to live with them in East LA. Manuel was like, treated me like a little brother. And since I was already interested in sex at a young age, he would show me like, hey, this is what you do to a girl, this is what you do to a girl. And I never told him what went on. But he kind of like figured it out, or had that like, I think Blanca told him that something was wrong, with our childhood. And he took me in, had me working. John Garant was the owner at that time, the old man. Had been through World War I and World War II and the Korean War. So this guy's like everything I wanted to be, all the things he had done, he had trophies of, fishing, all the places I wanted to go, he had gone. I loved hearing his stories, and John would tell me all kinds of stories, and he hired me at a young age. He said this was only supposed to be a summer job, but I worked there to forget school. And I would hang around with friends at nighttime. But I had money now. And we fixed guns there. They fixed guns, and I started learning how to tinker with guns at a young age. And I would, just to prove these other guys from the gangs and stuff, they were from 18th Street, around my house, they were from 18th Street. And I would show off, like take a gun, and show them that I knew how to fix it. And someone would bring guns to me and say, hey, can you have this? I'd try. I would take it, Manuel would fix it, and I'd take it back to them. So I started gaining a little popularity like that. And Fidel was a great guy. He was a drug addict. I didn't know. This is before crack came out. He was a cocaine addict. And my mom, I guess that was her first time She never did any dope. She tried it, went to the hospital because of it. Fidel was a cool person. And where the Staples Center stands out now, it's like a block away. We lived there, and on Georgia. And Fidel was a cool person. I don't know if my mother told him what was going on, but one day Alex came to see his son. He was already born, and Fidel beat him up. Fidel he'd been in prison in Cuba and everything, and he didn't go for none of that shit. I remember him saying, "Yo, you like touching little kids? Touch a man. You touch a man. Grab my nuts." He's trying to grab my nuts, and I liked the fear that he put in Alejandro. I liked the fear he put in Alejandro. I just enjoyed it. And all Alejandro was begging to see his son, my little brother Alex. And Fidel was just laughing, had a knife in his hand. He said, "I'll slash your face, I'll cut your nuts off. You know what I mean? Why don't you touch me?" And I just liked it. And Fidel says, "Hey, no man's ever supposed to touch you. You touch women. Don't ever let a man touch you." I mean, and if he does, cut him. And how he cut him where? Slit his throat, shoot him, do whatever. But don't ever let a man touch you. And I like that. I mean, I like that. It gave me a sense of, you know what? And he had a gun. He would let me hold his gun. And he would let me take it out. And then he would get fucked up, and I would just take the gun. So I'd show off with it. And by then I knew how to handle a gun. It's manual Billy. There came a time where I started hearing, I started knowing what sex was, and what are to-dos and not to-dos. I mean, I did not like gay people at first. I did not, it was like, and I hated people that touched kids. And every time somebody said, "Oh yeah, he's a child molester," I'd be the first one to raise my hand. As a kid, raise my hand to either shoot him, beat him up, do it. It was always beating him up at first. And what Fidel said always stuck in my head. And you kill him. You kill him. I mean, those guys deserve to be dead. And it stuck in my head. And I remember just one day that they were both coming over. They told my mother they were coming, that Gustavo was coming from Mexico. And they would like my little brother to show up at the house. And if me and my sister can go too. And my mother said, no. I said, I'll go. I mean, I'll go. Because he was offering me money. And I went. They didn't touch me. They didn't do anything. They just said, "Hi, how's your mom doing? Are you taking care of your little brother?" And I go, "Yeah, I am." But I was quiet. And I just wanted, I had seen movies, and I had, what my friends told me, my new friends told me what to do to a guy, to look at their behavior, but not behavior patterns, but look at where they live and stuff like that. And I had a gun. I had a little 25. And in my head, what they did to me was like a no-no. I wanted them dead. And what they did to my sister, I just kept quiet. And one day I caught the bus, went all the way to Glendale. I knew where he worked, and I shot him. And he worked in a bricklaying factory by the river, and the LA River, and not bricklaying. It was a ceramic. They made ceramic statues and stuff. And I went in there. I just shot him.
Shot him where?
Yeah, I shot him in the neck. And at first I was scared, but I did it just like I did little birds and little chipmunks and stuff. And I had a little chipmunk rifle. But with a 25, I never shot anything. It was just targets, but I shot him in the neck. And I didn't say anything, I just shot him. And I hated him. He just kept saying, no, okay, he's gonna beat me up, he's gonna whip me. And I just kept shooting. I unloaded the clip. I just...
You were how old?
I was 12 years old at this time, 12 and a half. And I didn't say nothing. I didn't tell anybody anything, but I felt happy. I felt very happy. Next was his brother. His brother came for his funeral, and to take him to Mexico. And I remember
Nobody knew that you did it?
no, no. They just said somebody went over there, tried to take his money, and they came up with all kinds of. I stole this chain, and I was wearing his chain for quite a while. He had this big old Guadalupe, Virgen of Guadalupe. It was a 18 karat gold chain, and I had it stolen from me right here in downtown. I was a young kid, and I pulled that 25 out, but it misfired, or it didn't fire at all, the guy. And my buddy Eddie told me, he told me, hey man, the hell, man, you were gonna shoot that guy? I go, yeah, and I told him that I had shot this guy. And I didn't tell him why, I just told him I shot this guy. And he goes, yeah, I don't believe you. I go, yeah, I did. Shot him in the neck. And he goes, he deserved it, like, very much deserved it. I told him he touched my sister, but later on down the line. He goes, yeah, he deserved it. You know what I mean? And then when Gustavo came to take his brother's body back to Mexico, and his mother wanted it back over there and everything like that, I had the opportunity because Gustavo wanted to go visit my little brother. And visit my mother. My mother was quiet and everything, but Gustavo died behind the house. I didn't shoot him. I had my friends over there and jump and rob him at first. I had my little gang at that time. We were 42nd Little Criminals Club. And we went over, we jumped the shit out of him, beat the shit out of the Granada he had, and just beat him up. Beat the shit out of him. He was practically knocked out when I grabbed this little piece of wire, like a bicycle wire, and choked him. And my buddy Eddie seen that one. He goes, hey, you gonna kill him, Dick? Fuck him. I mean, yeah, he said, fuck him. I wanted to be tough guy by then. I wanted to be not recognized, but just play tough. I wanted to be something else than what I really was. I was just scared all along, and I choked him. He was half asleep, and we're knocked out when he did, and he died too. And I cried. I didn't let nobody see it or anything. I just took off running, and I wanted to tell my mom. I wanted to tell a couple people. I didn't tell anybody. And but my buddy Eddie had to go tell his mom. His mom went to go tell a cop. And I mean, I got busted. It was about, I think, 3 weeks later. I ended up confessing to a crime, and they took me to juvenile hall.
To both crimes or just one?
Yeah, for both crimes. Because I wanted to play tough guy. I didn't know how to answer the questions. It was right here at the station. And the cop was asking me a bunch of questions. Why? I would tell him because I wanted to. I just wanted to be a tough guy. What gang? I told him what gang I was from. And he put me in for first-degree murder. And I didn't know what was going on. He said, the cop said he was going to let me go if I told him the whole story. But I didn't tell him that I got molested. And I just said, fuck him, why did you do it? And it's because I wanted to. I mean, it's because I feel like, man, you just ruined your whole life, you know? Those words didn't penetrate my mind. It's just, I wanted to. Well, I was confessing so much, like saying, slipping up so much, even to my lawyer, that the judge that arraigned me at first, when you're in juvenile hall, the judge you get at first is the judge sticks with you the whole case. And he talked to me like he was my lawyer. If it benefits you, he'll accept a plea, or I mean, he just wanted to know why. And he said, you think you're a bad, I remember, he said, you think you're a bad guy, you think you're a tough guy, you think you're a ganger. I said, I am. And he broke me down. In so many words, he kept asking me questions and taking information out of me until I told him, little by little, what happened. And he cut everything right there. He called somebody else. I remember he had called somebody else. He goes, I want you to write this down or jot this down. And I knew it. He kept saying, I knew it. I knew it. I mean, I knew it. I knew it. Why? And this and that. And he made me confess. That was the first person I really confessed to what really happened. And like the whole thing. And he shook my, like hit me in the head, patted me, hugged me. And he goes, I would have did the same thing. And he goes, don't ever say that. I would have did the same thing. And he goes, but you don't kill. And you just don't kill. In this country, you don't kill. And you're going to be all right. He said, you're going to be okay. This is after 8 months of going to court and stuff. And they're going to send me to YA and stuff. He ended up sending me to camp. And how things went in camp determined if I was going to go to YA till I was 25 or not. Things went great in camp. I was happy. Whatever happened, being in camp was like, for me, it wasn't a training ground. It was like going back to school. What happened in the past was like forgotten. And I was in the outdoors. I was in Laverne, California, San Dimas, Laverne area, seeing deer and everything. And there was Finch, Kasarik, and Duran. I still remember the ADs. These guys were so cool. They would show us what the outdoors was, how to start a fire. It was like being Cub Scouts all over again. And I wanted to be there. I wanted to participate. They didn't have no counseling or anything like that, but the judge always wrote me, and he ended up dying. But he always wrote me, sent money for I can have things, and he was a great guy. I mean,
How much time did you get?
A year and a half.
For 2 murders.
What determined if what's it called? I wasn't even in high school yet, but how I behaved to learn a work pattern. I remember, oh my God, it was like I learned how to weld. I learned how to write and handwriting. It was like the best thing that happened to me at camp. And when I got back out, gangbanging was the style. And it was good and bad. Manuel was still around at that time. He hadn't passed away yet. But Manuel and Billy were still around. They still wanted me to work, but I had lost interest in that. I was more into the gangbang. At first, I was wanted the fishing, the hunting, but I was more into the women at 14, 15. Hormones were raging, and I was more into the women and wanting to have women. And since I had that face that everybody could trust at that time, I was called upon for everything, and I had no problem with it.
So where's your life gone since then?
Excuse me?
Where's your life gone since then?
It's gone down to hell. It was good at first. I was rising up in the gang. Our gang, we started our gang. It was a club at first, football club at first, and then it became a gang because somebody got killed and it became a gang. And then since I had that reputation already that I had gone to jail, I knew how to fix guns. Older gangs would send their guns to us, or I would fix it or whatever. And I knew a lot about guns. And that was my only interest was guns and women. And I did not use drugs until I was, 22. And it was the worst thing I ever did, try drugs while I was in prison, and I OD'd while I was in prison. But I was trusted for a long time. And I liked it because everybody treated me with respect. Everybody wanted to hang around with me. In juvenile hall, the second time I went to camp, everybody wanted to hang around because I had been the murderer already. And something popular happened at that time. It was a shootout happened where the convention center's at, and it came out on video. And it was me shooting at the people. You can pull it out of YouTube. It was me and a friend shooting at a car, and I shot the guy in the butt. And he's actually my friend now. I shot the guy in the butt. It was a gang called Burlington, and a rival, and it became popular. So now I had a little reputation. And then the 90s hit, it was even worse. I went to prison for guns, and my reputation was growing. It was like, there was stories out there that I did this, I did that. And I didn't, but yeah, just stay quiet. And yeah,
So
like
since you were a teenager, just in and out of prison.
yeah, I was
and
in
drugs.
and out, yeah, or selling drugs. I did not touch marijuana. I did drink. I did not touch marijuana. I didn't touch anything. I did try mushrooms. I did try acid. I did not like anything. I did try PCP. I did not like any.
What is your drug today?
Today's heroin. It was heroin. Now it's fentanyl.
Where do you stay now?
I stayed. Well, I was with my wife. She kicked me out. Now I'm with my mom, and my mom kicked me out also. But I go back and I eat over there every day. She started seeing me. I lost so much weight. I had an accident a few months back, and it went to fentanyl because it was hard to get heroin after my Suboxone started losing it, being high. I started abusing my Suboxone, and being high, I would lose it. And I started on fentanyl. I started ODing. I've never OD'd so much in my life, and my life now is like I'm a 3-striker. I've been to prison, 3-4 times already. I've even been in a federal prison for extortion and guns. I've dabbled and dabbled in almost every type of crime, sex crimes. I hate sex crimes, people with sex crimes, and to this day, I just regret how my life has turned out completely. My partner is a total opposite from me. We've been together for a long time. She came to this country not knowing a word of English, and she's a microbiologist now. She's my total opposite.
Is this your wife?
Yes. We're not married, but we're even life partner. We've been together forever. And
You have kids?
one daughter. And actually, she's not my daughter. She messed up while I was locked up and had a baby. Well, I was there too. I tried to be there, and but she didn't know I used drugs until like 10 years ago, and I told her. She found out what heroin was, how bad it was, and at first she thought the world was over. Well, now she thinks the same thing about fentanyl, and we're arguing about that now. And she's trying to stay strong, and she's trying to be supportive. But I'm messing it up.
Do you feel like the child abuse is kind of why your life took this path?
Yeah, I finally told her what happened in my life, and not everything. I recently told her again that I took Alejandro out, and I haven't told my little brother. He doesn't know. He just keeps asking about his dad, and if he sees this, I don't know if he's gonna talk to me, but I did tell him when I was drunk one time that I took him out. And, but he says, you take everybody out. Yeah, I remember that. My brother's turned into a responsible person. He went to foster homes at first, and then to camps, and now he's a success story. And I admire him now, and I look up to him, and he looks down on me. I think he does. And and now my sister passed away last month, and from alcohol and drugs. I dedicate this to her. It's just that it's hard, man. It's hard. Messing up a kid like this is taking his innocence. You take everything from him, and it's hard to live life, be trying to be something else you're not. And I don't know if 50-something years old now. My sister's dead. My mother's still alive. She's still an alcoholic. We try to talk like adults now. Nobody hardly knows the story, but if you do, if there's anybody out there that's been hurt or anything like that, just talk about it. I think it gets better over time. You start learning how to love yourself. After a while, you come to terms with who you are and how to treat yourself. I mean, I messed up right now by using fentanyl, and I'm stuck on it now. I'm running from my parole, and I might turn myself in just to get help, and hopefully my wife will be happy if I do. I just want something normal. I'm tired of living a life of trying to be something else or having something else or having things. I just want normal simplicity, and that's all. I mean,
All right, William, thank you so much for sharing your story.
thank you, Mark.
Good luck with everything.
That felt good.